is because now it's recording. Last time, Helga, it wasn't recording, so forgive me on that. I forgot to push the record button.
Oh, darn.
So all your secrets are still safe.
Good.
No, I think the reason why it was a little confusing for Helga over there was because you were staying true to the to those rules that we've established, and then they didn't necessarily adhere to the rules. You know, they kind of did their own thing.
Oh, right.
Because I included the third of the chord now, and instead of just a strict old root strum fifth strum, which would totally work with this, I added a root strum third strum fifth strum third strum, because you know we're using the chord tones at that on the C to find the transition to the root note of the next chord. That's what we're using that's on the C section number 2, which is the B note. So we're using the root and then a strum and then the third of the chord and then the fifth of the chord and then third of the chord, which leads us right half step away from the root in the next chord. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not not to me, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll just follow the diagram.
Sure, but my philosophy with the diagram is I'm using the chord tones to get to the root note of my next chord with the least amount of movement possible.
Right.
So, you know, like when I was going to music school, we would study, you know, counterpoint and 18th century counterpoint and 16th century, blah, 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 20th century, up until the 20th century. But the idea is you want to have the next closest chord tone. You know, you want to have the least amount of movement, you know, and that's where you get your voice leading, you know.
I see.
It's going to be the smoothest. So it's kind of that concept. You can still take it and apply it to really any kind of, any style of music. So you kind of want to know where you are and know how to get to where you want to go.
That's essentially the same. That's the walk up, isn't it? Isn't that what that when like when you're going from like a G to a C and you're doing the walk up on there? You're doing like dun 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 dun.
You bet.
That's the concept you're talking about, right? You're doing the walk up.
Yep. So except like, on the C section, I'm putting the chuck in there, and the B section, I'm just doing individual notes. But on beat,
okay.
You see that? You're right.
Yeah, that's transitioning from a C to a D, and then you walk it back down. I can't walk it back down, but anyway.
Walk it back down. I like it.
Walk it back down. You're going to walk it up.
Walk it up. Walk it back down.
Walk it up. Bum, 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 bum.
Nice.
That's to the D, right?
Yep.
And then now walking it back down is. Oh no, I'm not walking it back down.
Are you doing the B section, or are you gonna do? Are you?
I'm sorry. I'm just fooling around.
Oh well, see, look at you though. No,
yeah,
you're following your ear. You're doing good.
That is the B section though.
Oh, that's the B section.
That is the B section. Yeah.
Except what you end up doing is you end up coming down onto the low E string. Because you're targeting the G note down there, right?
That's right. That's right. That's in your B section.
Right.
And then we're going back to G.
Yeah, and in that C section, I'm basically doing the same thing, except I'm hitting a chuck up in there.
Okay. Okay, it doesn't have a resolution at the end. It sounds like it needs to go back to G. Okay.
Well, see, that's what that does over there. So on the D, it goes. So I'm going to take it from the very first, on the C section, the first D, it goes.
It sounds great when you do it.
So you have to know what notes you're going to emphasize.
Okay.
And so generally what you're going to do is you're going to put your louder note or your emphasis on beat 1
Okay.
and beat 3. And so it's going to be loud, quiet, loud, quiet. You know, so 1's going to be louder than beat 2.
Can you do that again? Can you play it like that? So
Sure. So here's I'm going to do on the C section, starting with that very first D7.
Okay. It makes perfect sense following it when you play.
Exactly. Very nice. Yes.
so you said you emphasize the first note and the third note?
Yep. So it's always going to be on the boom. Boom is louder
Got
than
it.
chuck.
Okay. I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's loud, loudest, quiet, loud, quieter. So beat 2 is going to be louder than beat 4, and beat 3 is going to be quieter than beat 1. But beat 3 is going to be louder than beat 2 and 4. Right?
Okay.
So you're going to be loud, quiet, loud, quiet. That's, you know, oh yeah. Nice. Who was that? Was that you, Rosemary?
That was me, yeah.
Look at
Bumbling
you.
along.
You know what?
bumbling.
You know what you do? You know what you remind me of? You remind me of when it started clicking for Helga.
But Helga's so much better at it than me.
Well, hang on just a second. Now, I'm telling you, this is what I was hearing from Helga. I heard her slowly playing exactly what's written and hearing it and hearing the phrasing of it, and she's like, "Oh, I get it." And then she was going slow like you're doing there, but it was just, but everything was all there. And then she started, you know, now she's getting a little more fluid with it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you. I'm not just saying that, but that's exactly what that reminds me of.
Right. So
Because, you know,
Thanks.
last session, Rosemary, you weren't necessarily, you were like still asking questions going, well, I'm a little confused. Well, I'm a little confused. Now you're
I think I was very confused.
and now you're saying I'm confused, but I'm playing this. And you're like,
right. It's
playing.
making a little more sense. It really is. Because I can see it in relation to the chords. And I understand that essentially I'm fingering a chord, but I'm playing individual notes in between that. And so it makes more sense. Whereas if I'm just looking at the chart with, you know, strings, it doesn't seem to make any sense to me. But this clicks a little bit better. So I think with practice, and especially if I would do like the metronome to get it up to beat, up to time, I probably could get it. I think.
You know, go ahead, Helga.
Yeah, I would say too that you can't practice enough. You know, I mean, honestly, until my fingers are hurting, you know, it just over and over and over and over again. Right.
Yeah. Until it becomes almost automatic. You're not thinking about it. I think I'm trying to do, I'm thinking about it.
And that's okay.
Stop thinking and then just play it.
Well, how are you supposed to stop thinking about it if you
I don't know.
So you have to think. You have to think about it. You know.
You do.
And what you do, here's what you should do: is you sit there with your hand in one position, and then you ask yourself, "What do I do?" And don't do it yet, but you think about it, and you know exactly which finger you're going to execute first. I don't mean cut off, but I mean you're going to movement.
Right, exactly. This is why it's so useful to hear you play it and to watch as you do it, because you get it inside your head, what you need to do, and then you can hear it as you play it yourself.
Yes, you can. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's much better. That was why with that live stream thing, it's on YouTube. You just go back and play it over and over and over. So it makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the live stream, you know, that was fun. That was interesting, you know, because it was like I didn't have any interaction, but I kind of was thinking, where people's brains would want to go or whatever. So,
Right.
I was
I
just,
did not know you were doing a live stream. I had no clue that it was all going to go online.
well, yeah. So, I mean, it was just kind of one of those things that it just had to happen. I mean,
That's true.
it's like the moment that the last class that we hooked up, at the Frank Hamilton School, I was just
Right.
like, I knew this was what we were going to, and
Yeah.
I knew it the whole, day, and I knew it the couple days leading up to it. And I showed up and I was like, Shelly, it's going to be a while. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be a few months. So
Wow.
we got to get used to this.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we do the best we can.
Yeah, no, this is working. It's working for me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is better than, canceling everything altogether. I mean, at
Yes.
least we're moving forward, however slowly it may be. But,
And that's exactly how I feel about it as well. It's like, and I bet you this will happen too, soon, but I've been taking vocal lessons, right? But she's once at one-on-one, and I'm just like, well, I mean, absolutely, but now since this thing has happened, she's in her 60s and she's got a 93-year-old dad at home, and so, you could be asymptomatic and still,
Absolutely.
spread it. And, that's just part of my, I mean, I've taken it serious. I'm not pretending like this is nothing, and I believe you. I mean, I know people who get gotten sick, and people have almost died, and we don't even know what this thing really truly is yet. Maybe there's different
It's
phases.
really frightening. Yeah, it's
Right.
frightening. Yeah, especially when you're in high risk categories. So it's really it's quite a thing.
So yeah. Anyway, so I called her up and I was like, well, I know your whole shtick is you have to be, face to face with people, because how are you supposed to, it's vocal, there's nuances to it, and she has to stop you when she hears these, and she's like, I just won't do it. And I'm like, look, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about, the best, highest quality, stick to your guns stuff here, but I can't come by. It's just not going to happen. So you got to keep moving. You can't just say,
Right.
well, I'll see you next year. Cause man, no, you
I
can't.
know. And you lose too much ground. That's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
because in our class, I felt like as if we had really progressed, to a certain point, and then, suddenly if you stop, you lose that. And so that's why I'm so glad that we can pick it back up and still work on it,
I completely agree. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
completely agree. Yep. And go ahead, Helga.
Oh, no, I didn't want to interrupt, but when you had a blank time, I was gonna, but I didn't want to interrupt.
You're fine. Go ahead. I don't even remember where my thought was going, but it's okay. I'm sure
Okay.
my brain will
Sorry.
go again.
I was actually going to just change subjects because, but it was actually related to that. So speaking of, in other words, so you had sent out also the tabulation for wayfaring stranger.
Ooh, I didn't get that.
Yep. And
where is that? Is that on the website?
I sent it to everybody over the Gmail, but it is also on the website. I think it should be downloadable even if it's on the website, but I did send it to everybody over the email as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I meant wayfaring stranger.
Wayfaring stranger.
Wayfaring, yeah. But I've been practicing it, and it's actually, I think Rosemary, when you get it, it'll kind of make sense. But the way it's tabulated is it's got the music on the top and then the tabulation right underneath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up and do a little screen share here.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I didn't want us to miss, because I had some questions about it.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
got
Sorry
it.
to interrupt again.
Hey, you're all good.
No.
Please do.
I'm glad you said something, Helga, because I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm struggling with he also sent out this tabulation for I guess it's really the quote melody of the done later round, and I had to set that aside for a while. That's where I started working on the Wayfaring Stranger. I thought, okay, let me work on something. I got it. So I may have to come back to the done later round, because
that one's one of those things where you kind of have to, I would suggest learning the melody as it's written in the music itself before you do that, or as you're doing that, because what you'll be able to do is you will be able to hear where the melody is in that arrangement that I had created.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, I guess I better go to the email again real quick here too. All right. Haha, here we go. Let me do this.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, there it is. You see that there, Rosemary?
Oh, I see. I see in the tablature underneath it. That's wonderful. If I don't have that in my email, I'll email you back, Glenn. I would love to have this.
Yeah, I think I had sent it to you. Yep, it should be in there.
Okay, I'll have another look.
I sent it March 25th, actually.
Okay, I'll go back and have a look then.
Cool. So yes, go ahead, Helga, shoot your questions up here.
Yeah, I have, I guess, two questions. One thing that I wanted to know if you would play it, and then in particular, I wanted to just hear how it sounds, but also on the second line, I guess that's, let me think, count it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the seventh measure, where we're in the second measure of D minor, that where it goes from, the
right
open
here?
4 to the 5, how that sounds.
So what you have there is you have, let me play the A minor leading up to that. Now D minor. So what that D minor is doing is it's adding, the second D minor measure is doing like a walk.
Okay. Do 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 do.
Yep. Which is yeah, so it's like through this world, a world of woe. That part, so it's like through woe. I mean, that's, I wouldn't play that if I'm singing it though, but that's just where that is. So through
Okay.
this world of woe, I am a poor wayfaring stranger. I screwed that up, but anyway, so you go, yeah. So yeah, that's what that is. There any other questions on that one? On that section?
Yeah, the other question that helped also just hearing you play it.
You mean to play the whole tune?
Yes, that would be lovely if you would.
And there's 2 pages, Rosemary.
Okay, on my screen, I cannot move the music, and at least I don't think I can. Oh, yes, I can.
I'm doing that.
Oh, you're doing that. Oh, okay. I'm afraid if I hit a button, I'm going to zonk out of this session, so I don't want to hit anything.
You might.
I know.
Don't
it's
hit
easy
the button.
I'm not going to hit any buttons.
We don't want to zonk out of the session
I
here.
know. I'll be zooming out.
Well, I'm trying. Let me see if I can go smaller. That's as small as it goes. Let me see if I can do this then. No, that's.
No, that looks good. We can read it. Mhm.
But you can't read both pages there. And
No.
Yeah, but I
no.
can hear. Anyway. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me do this. I think I can give somebody control of my screen.
Oh, no.
No, say I'd rather not. No.
No, if I had a mouse, I might be willing to do that, but no.
Okay. Sure. Anyway, all right, cool. I'll just play it then. Here we go.
Okay.
It starts on beat 2.
Great.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'd love that piece. I remember when I first heard it and started playing it and learning it, and I was like, if I could just play that, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Which that's never true, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. When you're strumming, I can feel it. I mean, it senses that you're doing an upswing. Did we get? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, no, I did do a little upswing here and there, like on the chucks. I apologize on that. It's like sometimes I'll do boom chucka, or chicka, here's boom chuck. Here's boom chicka. So it's like 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. There's just boom chuck. So each one, either one, if you do it right, is legit on that, especially in how you do it. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I guess so. It'll come up again, so we'll go ahead and pause on that, because that's one thing I've struggled with. The other question I had
go ahead.
Had to do with the smoothness of transitioning from the A minor to the D minor. And I guess that's just practicing moving it back and forth.
Here's what's cool about that, I think, is here's your A minor. Then you have your D minor. That very first D note is an open string. So you can buy yourself a little bit of time. So you have here's your A minor on beat 4, which is this note. So you're going, there's beat 1 of the next measure. So there's your time. So I would go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just however long it takes you to get there. But
got it. Okay. And
So-
then I'm finding on that D minor, I want to put my pinky, use my pinky on that second string.
that's not the end of the world.
Okay.
That's not the end of the world, because if you do that, then you allow your third finger some freedom to come.
Right. Exactly.
So that's not the end of the world. I'm not upset
Okay.
about that.
All righty. Well, good.
But especially since you've paid attention on the other stuff, and it's not because you're just trying to compensate. You know what I mean? It's because you're thinking through it, and you've already thought through everything. So
yeah.
not everything, but you're thinking through it. Yeah, it's okay to modify, but
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love the way you're thinking on it. You're like, well, that C section on that G running confused me because it wasn't. It wasn't. It's traditional. Okay, very
All right.
It broke the rules.
right. That's right. We broke up some rules here. Yep.
Very good. Okay.
But yeah, hopefully, back to that other thing with the vocal thing. My point is on that is she sent an email out yesterday or whatever saying, hey, you know, she's basically having to shut it down now. And so maybe, hopefully, she's going to, you know, open it up and I'll be able to do like even over the phone with her. I mean, you know, like we were saying, anything's better than nothing. And, you know, maybe it's not optimal, but at least you're able to keep flowing and you're able to keep growing. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
So
all.
is she, did she go for it then? I mean, are you now taking your lessons again?
Nope. But, you know, people change because you never know where you're going to, you know, you have to adapt, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are
You're
changing.
changing.
It's
Yeah.
always true. That's why it's such a great song, no matter when that is. It's, you know, always works. So damn true. But yeah, good living. Any other questions on that one there, Miss Helga? I didn't mean to go back to that, but I at least
No, I'm just working through that first page now. So, and it's starting, you know, pieces of it are starting to feel smoother, but I really wanted to hear it. And I was struggling with those two pieces still.
Well, so if you want to go look at the next page on page 53,
Uh-huh.
there's one section here that might be interesting to talk about, because you wouldn't, looking at it, you wouldn't think it sounded like this maybe, and you know, unless you heard it first. It'd be like, so that's on the E7, which is your third line, second
Yep.
measure.
Uh-huh.
You have a hammer on,
Right.
and then a downstroke, and then an upstroke, and then a pull off. That's what
Right.
that is. And then you have a
Yeah, I
bend.
can do a pull off. That's kind of fun actually, but yeah.
Then you have that bend.
Oh, that's where the bend is. I see it now. Okay, well, I haven't got to that part, but thank you. Yeah.
Yep. I'm sorry, I hit that wrong. But yeah, so you have your. So then when you get to the fourth line, first measure, you're basically, you know, at the beginning again, but you're just going to tie it all together.
Yeah, that's going to be a really challenging section, going like from the F to that E7, and with that bend and that peculiar little, that'll be a fun one to practice.
Well, I think that won't give you that much trouble. Here's where I think you'll have your troubles. personally is if you look at page 53, the third measure of the very first line. You don't see that there, Rosemary, do you? Let me pull up.
No, I'm not seeing it.
I think I still, I hope I didn't get rid of it. Okay, let me do this then. So if you look at page 53, which is right here, and then the third measure, you're going from, your second measure is an A minor chord going to the B
F.
chord.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it?
To me, that's where that might give you some challenge there, because you have to, because when you play that hammer on, you have to basically already have your F chord down, even though you're not strumming it until here in a second, if that makes sense. It's like you're having so you're putting it down before you do the hammer on of beat 1 on the B section.
Now, when you say hammer on, Glenn, we're talking about where it says, like, you know, the open string, and then it has that sort of parentheses over the top of it. So you're starting with the open string, and then you pull your finger down onto the second fret. Is that basically what we're doing there? That's the hammer on? Yep.
Here, I'll show you here. Let me
2, 3, so it's
see how to transfer over here again. Oh, there we go. So a hammer on is when you strike, let's say, for instance, I'm going to strike the open third string.
okay.
I'm going to, just for this example, I'm hitting that open, and then I'm not going to do anything with my right hand, and I'm do it all with my left hand. So you go.
Okay. It's simply just changing the sound just because your finger's hitting the note, the string that's already vibrating.
Yep, you're using it as like a hammer.
So it's like, wait a minute. That's it. That's the hammer on.
Yep, and you can kind of see how I'm making noise.
Okay.
So I'm kind of doing, but I'm doing that like this. So then if you do the hammer on, there it is.
Okay.
That's
and in the tablature, whenever you see that thing with the parentheses over the top, that's what that means, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay.
If it's starting on a lower note and then doing that, it's a hammer on. If it's starting on a higher note and then going to a lower note, it's a pull off.
Okay.
And if it has from a lower note to a higher note, but it just has a line like this, like a diagonal line.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Well, we don't have one in here yet, but that's a slide. But yeah. Yeah.
That would be when you're sliding up sliding up or down the frets, right? Yeah, I've seen people do that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, those are slides.
Yep. And I'm just sliding up to the chord tones and stuff.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah.
Very good.
So that's probably the trickiest part in my humbleness is on that F section.
Oh, okay.
Or the B section on the F chords.
Thanks for the warning.
Because you have to have, I'm on the A minor before it goes. Now I'm about to do the hammer on, but I already have my F chord down. Because I know I'm going to do a strum. So if I have the so I'm anticipating the chuck on that. And then you have, and then when you hit the F again from the C chord on the second line, second measure of the page 53, same kind of thing. So you have to have your F chord down before you hit that hammer on. See, it gets too late if you wait. You have to already have it down.
Yeah, F chords are always hard, even when you're not trying to do our hammer on.
Yes.
They're devils.
They are the devil. They got horns and everything.
They do. They're terrible.
And tails, and they're red. And
oh, gee.
Nice. Well, I tell you what, ladies, I'm glad we came on here and had a chat. I've enjoyed myself.
This has been good, definitely.
I needed this. I needed that.
Yeah, we did too. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. So are we going to do this same time next week?
You bet. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Oh, and you're going to send out wildwood flower?
Woo!
Yep. Let me see if I can find a little write-up on that, or I'll write one out, or I'll just send it recorded, so you can hear it. But yeah, I'll start working towards that.
Wonderful. This is super.
Nice. Well, Rosemary, I'm glad you're here,
Oh, it's by the miracle of modern technology.
That's right.
Oh, heavens.
It's nice hearing your joy. That's good. So
it is.
All right. Well, if that's it, then we'll just wrap it up and call it a night.
Okay. Good to see you
right.
all. Same time next week.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Bye.
Live long and prosper. I'll see you all soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.